Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. It's quite funny when you look at the comments. When you get down to read the next comment question, you think, this one could be contentious. This one's from DV Amateur, and it's in response to can't load Jupiter 80 driver, happy with my Korg Nautilus, a mailbag I did in October 2023. And DVA writes, of course, there is no reason to upgrade from Kronos to Nautilus. I don't think there was even a reason to upgrade Nautilus from OASYS. However, there might be an incentive for somebody with an M1 or a T-Series or an O1W or a Trinity or even a Triton to upgrade to Nautilus. And by upgrade, I don't mean getting rid of the older or previous instrument. Several Korg instruments can coexist, assuming physical space is available, of course. Anyway, my point is, I by do means advocating get rid of the Kronos in favour of the Nautilus. This would not make any sense to me whatsoever. But someone owning a Korg product from the 80s and 90s, the Nautilus looks like one of the greatest things there are, at least within the Korg domain that is currently sold. Well, basically I responded to this and said, I agree with your statements wholeheartedly. But I want to add some more to the context of this. And I've said this many times, and I'm going to say it many times more, I think, because people keep commenting on this. The Korg Nautilus is not a bad synthesizer. The Korg Nautilus is actually a very, very functional synthesizer and can hold its own. Yes, there are some problems, I am led to believe, with Nautiluses doing weird things. Something to do with the operating system, etc. But in general terms, this is a very capable and powerful synthesizer workstation combination. What I have said before is it is not dissimilar enough from the Kronos to justify going from Kronos to Nautilus. And if you go and look at some of the signature artists that are using Kronos, what are we now? 2.5, 3 years after Nautilus has been launched, you don't see those artists on stage using a Nautilus. A few of them have switched, but most of them haven't. Why haven't they switched? Well, I suppose we'll have to go and ask them. But in my opinion, the reason why these artists haven't switched is, number one, there was no upgrade path of all the sounds they crafted on the Kronos to move them to Nautilus in the initial release of the product. Number two, there's no incentive within Nautilus to move. And number three, I think a lot of these artists made use of some of the features that Nautilus dropped, specifically Aftertouch and Karma. And because they used these features, there was no way they were going to move to Nautilus because Nautilus didn't have them. It changed the whole sequencing, arpeggiating engine to something completely different. So if you were a Kronos artist, why would you move? What was the incentive for you to move from one platform to another, especially as Nautilus took a few things away from the original Kronos platform? So that's what I want to say. I've said it many times before. People have said, "Oh, Nautilus is a better." look, I'm not arguing, and I never have argued that Nautilus was not a good platform in terms of what it, if you would come into the market and you wanted one of these keyboards, Nautilus was definitely a contender. The problem is if you had Kronos already, why would you upgrade? There was an argument, a similar argument to OASYS, but what Kronos gave you over OASYS was OASYS only had 3 engines on it. Okay, they never installed the additional engines. What they did was they held those engines back and put them on Kronos. Okay, so there was all of a sudden between OASYS and Kronos, there was an incentive to move. You got a whole host of new functionality, and you didn't mind that the interface was slightly cheaper than OASYS. The OASYS interface, in my view, is a much better interface than Kronos. But the OASYS is not as functional. The keyboard on OASYS is much better than Kronos. But the Kronos gave you so much more over the OASYS when it was launched. There was a reason why people moved to Kronos. Next comment or question comes from Enconch Root 9438 in response to Yamaha Montage M and released and more specs part 2, and they write, looking at all the models and price points, it does feel worth getting the M8X. If you're considering the other models, the price jump isn't a massive gap. Now, I have actually been thinking about this before I wrote this, and I've been thinking about it a bit more. Now, other than cost, size, and maybe size, why would you buy the Yamaha Montage 8X over the Montage M7 and M6? Well, the key selling feature is the poly aftertouch feature, which is only available on the 88 key version. Because you need the new GEX keybed, and that's the only keyboard that has that keybed. It's not available on the M6 and M7. But surely one of the reasons why you would want to buy the Montage M, and for the sake of 500 quid, why would you forego it? Now, I know in either part 1 or part 2 of this video I said it is the same software and you can drive poly aftertouch from an external source. But if you're a road warrior and you want one keyboard, not an array, unless of course your name is Rick Wakeman, then the 88 key version of this keyboard, even though it is tray expensive, and is the one to have because it has all the features that you don't get on the M6 and M7. And for that, I don't understand why you would buy an M6 or M7, because surely you want the features that are not on it. They are in the software, but because of the way the keyboard is designed, you don't get it. Anyway, that's me. That's my thought on this one.